Hi, I'm Tiffany Burton, and I'm doing my reflection for Module 3. Question 1 says, describe your thoughts after watching the videos about how the internet has driven change and the lecture from Professor Wesh. First, my thoughts on this video was I started watching it and I was like, this is going to be absolutely boring. It actually turned out to be quite interesting. I was not expecting that, but I did enjoy it. I especially enjoyed the free hugs part and the end where the guy is doing a kind of like a video log, a vlog, and he had lost his son to SIDS, and it was just really sad for me. And the fact that he's able to cope with living in a world without his son, kind of heartbreaking for me, but that's great that there's an outlet for that. What were the primary messages from the videos and lecture, and did you relate to those messages? The primary messages from the lecture that I thought were that technology is pretty much here to stay, it's changing every day, and that whatever video you post, people will say good and bad things, but overall, technology can help build a relationship. I have some girlfriends in England and New York and Boston and Harvard, and then I have another girlfriend over in Africa right now who's doing a study where she follows cows and she documents how they react to predators. Super boring, right? Like, why wouldn't you just do that here in the States? But she's going over next year to track lions, so it's really interesting. But the fact is, I can get on my magic phone and I can text her right now, and she'll get it. And to me, that just blows my mind. Whenever I was a kid, I always thought, how cool would it be to have a pen pal from across the world? And it would just be so fascinating to be friends with that person. I'm doing it. Like, this is happening now in real life. I'm actually friends with somebody who's in Africa, somebody who's in England, we're all on 3 separate continents, and we're talking every day. It's just the craziest thing to me. And one of my favorite comments from Professor Wesh was, when media changes, human relationships change. Like I said, 20 years ago, this was a dream for me. Like, I thought would be the most amazing thing to have these friends in different places and to learn about different cultures. And here I am now doing it every day. Every day. Let's see. What implications do those messages have for you as a future teacher? Don't post anything on the internet ever, because it can all come back to bite you in the butt. It just seems scary to me that I could post this crazy video of me being stupid and possibly intoxicated while doing a cinnamon challenge, and I actually posted this video on Facebook about 7 years ago, and my kids who are in 7th grade this year, and I work with the SPED department, but I also have some of the regular ed kids, but they could go online and they could dig up that old video and they could show it to their friends of me being young, intoxicated, and acting foolish, and I posted it on the internet, and that just horrifies me, because I try to hold myself in a dignified manner. I tried to keep all of, my dark, scary past in the dark and scary past, and I don't want to bring it up, and I don't want to tell the kids about how stupid it is that I was young and dumb at one point, and they can find that, and that's scary to me. Describe the podcast you listen to. I listen to a podcast. It's for teachers, and it kind of gives you a little jump for the beginning of your week. They come out on Sunday night. Called Angela Watson's Truth for Teachers. The one I listened to was about how to help your kids learn, and so she talked about how to make your kids more involved in the classroom. And so one of her quotes that she had said, and I'm paraphrasing here, was that whoever's doing the most talking is doing the most teaching. And that kind of hit me, because we go to our class every day and we stand up in front of our kids and we lecture and we lecture and we lecture and we lecture and we lecture, and we can lecture until we're blue in the face, and they can take a million notes. But if they don't get it, they're not going to get it. So it doesn't matter how much homework we give them, they're not going to know what they're doing until it's fun for them. And I'm not going to lie, I wasn't looking forward to this class, but the more I get into it, the more fun it is, and that's kind of surprising. But I really enjoyed her podcast. I went ahead and subscribed to it. I think I'll start listening to it every day. Doesn't matter that it's summer. I mean, I've got some catching up to do anyway. So, what are ways that Web 2.0 technologies like podcasting, blogging, wikis can be used in the classroom? Okay, so you can use all of these things in the classroom to help prepare your substitute teachers, so you can like leave them notes. You know, you're going to do this with the kids, and you're going to do this with the kids, and you're going to do this with the kids. For school announcements, so you could pre-record it and then leave it, and so that you could do other stuff while there's announcements. Usually our principal would do the announcements, but he's handed it off to the student council because he's always having to deal with kids who are in trouble. But if he started a podcast, then he could pre-record it, get it ready for the next day, and get it going, and that would be awesome. For your absent students, I usually talk about this. Kids that are sick with cancer or an autoimmune disease and they can't come to school for fear of getting worse or getting everybody else sick or something like that, they could just listen to a podcast and they could learn, and they could still be in the public school or the private school, whichever, so that they could stay caught up. So whenever they can come back from chemo or they can come back from being in the hospital, they can still be caught up. This could also help involve parents. So one of my podcasts said, you know, make your kids read out loud and then send it to their parents. So you could make a podcast of each kid reading a page out of a short chapter book and then send it to the parents so that the parents can listen to their kids reading in class, which is kind of cool. You can archive your lessons so that if you have a kid who has a specific learning disability, you can go back and say, oh, this is what I did for this kid who's dyslexic, and it works so well, so let's try it with this new kid. You could also use podcasts as an alternative to oral reports, which is kind of what we're doing right now, except we're making a video, not a podcast. Should social networking applications like Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram to be allowed in P12 educational environment? Why or why not? I don't think that any of it should be used, but at the same time, in the same exact breath, I think it's amazing. I used to be a nursing assistant, and so I would follow this Instagram person who did studies on cadavers, so I guess she was kind of like a morgue person. I'm not really sure. But I thought that was fascinating, and that is really interesting if you're into that thing. So yes, it would be useful. We watched Bill Nye, The Last Day of School on YouTube. YouTube can show you how to sanitize bottles. YouTube can show you how to finish a wood floor. YouTube can show you how to install a shower. We use YouTube a lot around our house, and so I think it would be great if we could use it in the classroom. But then I'm also worried about kids who bully and search like inappropriate things on the internet. We have a lot of that as well, so it's kind of a catch-22 here. I think that we should allow it, but with restrictions. Number 3, which cloud-based bookmarking tool did you utilize, and what were your thoughts after using it? So the social bookmarking tool I used was Dig. I tried to use Delicious, but my browser wouldn't allow it to pop up. I don't know if I had a problem with internet or not, but I used Dig. The reviews on it were pretty good, and it seemed to be really easy to make an account, which is my favorite thing. It's easy and fast and get it done. So I bookmarked 2 pages. I haven't done a lot of exploring on it yet, but as the week goes on, we'll find out some more. Thank you for listening to my super long video, and have a great week.